Hello, welcome back to another episode of whatever this is. Um, just two friends catching up because otherwise we don't check in on each other other than sending each other reels.
Yeah,
Uh, Pretty much. I think that
yeah,
sums up our friendship.
yeah. How are you today, my boy?
I am doing good. It's Gray Monday, which I love because it's gray. Hate it because it's a Monday, but it's overall good. I
I
had
don't have the
pizza
same
for
problem.
breakfast.
I don't have the same problems here. It's too bright, it's too sunny. I'm too much of a vampire to go outside. I hate that there's light coming into my room at this moment. The sacrifices I have to make.
Oh my God. Let me keep a timer. I forgot to keep a timer. 1 second. Da, da, da. What do you eat breakfast or did you skip it
I
altogether?
never have breakfast. The only times I have breakfast is when I go home and I'm with my mother and she makes the best breakfast. Otherwise, I don't have breakfast.
I
No.
think we covered this in the last video, right?
Yes, we did. I'm
Okay.
not a huge fan of breakfast. Dinners are my main meals. Even lunches I can forego. I might, have something around 3 or 4 in the afternoon if I really need it. But a
Mm,
big, heavy dinner is my cup of
hmm.
tea.
Got it. Cup of tea. All right. Okay. How have you been? How was the transition to spring?
Everything's been good so far. As you probably know, I was away in Newfoundland for 3 weeks, so nearly a month. That was fantastic. I had such a wonderful time.
St. John's,
Newfoundland
right?
Yeah, it was so pretty. I got of the 3 weeks, I got 2 whole weeks of sun, and I
Wow.
went to Cape Spear, which is the easternmost point in North America. That's
Oh,
as east on land you can go, and everything beyond is the ocean. It was so beautiful, so fantastic. I would have moved there if that was possible, but I went there for training for work that I'm starting next week, so I can't really move just yet. Eventually.
maybe after a year at this place, maybe
Yeah,
you can.
maybe. But the only problem is it's so far away from everything else. If I wanted to drive somewhere, which I love driving now, so that might be a little hard because it's like 35 hours driving from Toronto.
I'm sorry, aren't you already in the middle of nowhere?
Yes, but I can get to Toronto by driving 10 hours now. That Newfoundland St. John's, where I was, it's 36 hours because there's like 10 hours on a ferry.
What if you took a flight?
I flew there. Yeah.
Oh, you did
I
fly there.
prefer driving. I prefer driving. The company was paying for the flight, so I was good.
Did you fly from Timmins?
Yeah, I flew from Timmins in a dinky little airplane, the kind that if you sneeze, it might go back.
Mm,
Um, landed in Toronto. I was there for, I think, 2 hours on the way there and back, and
okay.
then took a bigger flight to St. John's, and it was fun. I
Oh,
enjoyed it.
wait, so you came down to Toronto and from Toronto you went to St. John's.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, now the question of the hour is,
Uh-huh.
do you want to say it? You say it.
Yeah, okay. So I had an idea, like, because um instead of talking about how was your childhood, how was your college years and all that, and how you are as a person, there's an easy way to determine what a person is like when
Mm,
they have money. So I thought we could express what we would do, the both of
mm,
us, if we won $1 million.
mm,
What we would do, because that I think opens up a window into each other's soul and gives you an idea what kind of person you are, because the desires in a person has, the needs someone has, the fundamental foundational needs, as well as the things that they want if they had the opportunity. $1 million should cover that pretty well, right?
mm. Yeah.
So that's my question for you. What would you do if tomorrow you won $1 million, tax free? So you get the whole $1 million. And I think in
Mm.
Canada, if you win a lottery, you don't pay
Lottery,
tax.
yeah. It is. No, I think you don't get taxed.
Yeah, you don't get taxed.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah.
what you said. Yeah.
So $1 million come into our account tomorrow. What are you doing with it, young Alan?
Oh, uh, okay. So we have literally had zero time to think about this.
Yeah,
Just for
because it's
context.
it's 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 a quick fire thing because it your impulses come out.
Yeah. So for me, it's financial security.
Uh-huh.
Immediately, it's financial security to the point where I don't have to work
Yeah.
for the rest of my life.
Huh, okay.
Now, I
I'll go a different way.
okay. Okay. So for me, what I'll do is I will probably buy a bunch of different properties in Kochi and
Okay.
Ernakulam.
Okay.
I'll start there, might look into other cities as well, like Pune or some other places. Basically, rental properties. And that is going to be my source of income for a majority. Like that'll be a steady flow of income. And I'll also definitely invest a bunch of money in different I don't know, different banks where they do the stock trading for you,
Hmm.
sort of thing. I'm gonna do that. And put a whole bunch of fixed deposits in different places.
Okay.
And this would use up, let's say, close to 60% of my whole money.
So that will be
Well,
$60,000. No,
$600,000.
$600,000. Sorry, I'm not very good at math.
Oh, that's neither of us are. There's a reason. Um, $600,000, I'm going to spend it that way.
Okay.
And another $20,000 would be, sorry, 200, no, $100,000 would be philanthropy. Um,
Who's Phil? And why is he getting your money?
Philanthropy, giving people money like for
I
organizations and
know.
stuff like
Just
that. Oh my
pretending to
God.
be dumb. Apparently, boys like that. I don't know.
Uh,
Continue, Amazon for.
eh, mm, 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 mm. Nine. No, that's French.
That's German.
Oh shit, yeah, that's German. I'm sorry, I'm getting work.
Okay, you still have $300,000 left.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
I don't think you can buy Jesus Christ.
No, I don't want to. I mean, I want him, but I mean, again, oh,
You
sheesh.
want him in a biblical sense? Okay, continue.
Yes. Okay. I don't know if we'll be able to post this video anymore. Oh, Lord. Um, okay. With the remaining money, I am gonna give it to my friends who needs
Oh,
it
thank you.
purposes. Um, and definitely go on trips with mom to different countries as much as I can. And buy a really good house in Kochi. We have a nice house, but it's kind
Okay.
of small. I want a bigger house with a front yard and
Okay.
stuff. So if something like that is still available in Kochi,
Yeah.
I'll go for that.
An ocean
Um,
front so that when global warming happens, you can be washed away immediately.
oh, yeah, actually, yeah. You know what?
So you
That
don't have to worry about it once you're dead, dead.
I know. And I'm gonna leave a whole bunch of money to, I don't know, I'll set up a foundation or a trust, I guess, so
Okay.
that that money
Very
can
different
be,
people. We are
yeah.
very different people.
Oh, definitely one thing that I'll end up doing is building a library sort of thing, like
Okay.
a room full of books and just
That's called a library, yes.
a huge ass French window. And
French window. Ugh, too much sunlight.
yeah, but then obviously blackout curtains are also there.
Okay. Then what's the
Uh,
point of a French window if you're going to black it out?
on gray days, I can sit there and
Oh,
read. Like monsoons in Kochi, like you can
okay. Oh
enjoy
yeah,
it.
you're in Kochi. I forget.
Yeah. So that and yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I'll try different foods from different places.
Okay.
Like I think around $100,000 will be just living my life, doing whatever I want, kind of thing. I'm not gonna
Okay.
spend a lot of money on vehicles. I'm not gonna spend a lot of money on clothes and those kind of material things as much.
Okay.
I would
Huh.
focus more on like getting out
Very
of
different.
debt and
Yet
yeah.
again, you're going a very different way from what I will do.
Okay, now you go. You have 4 minutes.
So $1 million.
Hmm.
So first priority would be buying not a huge house or anything, just a reasonable sized wood cabin, but fully furnished, fully electrified, security and everything and all that with CCTV and everything, but lots of land in Canada,
Hmm.
preferably somewhere like Sault Ste. Marie or somewhere like that, where it's close to nature, close to a lake or a river or something, because that's what I want in my life. I need like a cabin in the woods where I can go away, nobody disturbs me. So it'll be lots of property, lots of trees, maybe a little bit of a greenhouse so I can plant things. I love
Mm.
planting things like a few flowering plants, a few shrubs, maybe a few bonsais, stuff like that. Just, everything that gives me joy. And spend maybe ideally under $500,000, so $500,000 for that, just, to buy property. And it could be just one property or two, one in the boondocks up in Kapuskasing or somewhere like that, and one closer to a bigger city, but not again, ideally like a loft or
Mm.
something where I can go and then visit other places. If I want to fly somewhere else, I can go and live there. So I can, travel between the two
Yeah.
worlds that I can engage with, a city life as well as my calm, chill, most of the time, just relaxed kind of life. And that wood cabin would absolutely need to have one workroom, which is my office where I would have all my books on both the walls, music system hooked up so I can constantly play music.
Mm.
But it won't have a French window, but it'll have just a nice window looking out into the lake or the fields where I can work, where I can do my writing and all that kind of stuff, right? But then there'll also be another room. This will be maybe a 3 or 4 bedroom house, imagine, but it's all for me. There are no guest bedrooms. The one of the other bedrooms will be dedicated entirely to a hobby that I want to take up, but it would require significant funding, which is to buy a 3D printer and then make miniature models of fantastic world monuments. So I want to have a little Taj Mahal, a little Qutub Minar, a little Humayun's tomb, a little, Pyramid of Giza, stuff like that. Just, and then I can collect them and put them up and display them for my own satisfaction. So I definitely need a 3D printer for that. So hey, it's a good, and I won't stop working. That's another thing that I won't stop working because that's the only way where I engage with people. I'm not a
Mm.
very social person in my own time, so I need to be forced to socialize, and the only way that is happening is if I'm working. When I'm at work, I'm very sociable. I'm very cheerful, very engaging. People think I'm an outgoing person because of the way I interact with people at work. But that's again a full-on show because it takes a lot of energy for me to engage with people, right? That's why I moved up north so I don't have to deal with people and I
Mm.
don't have to go out and all that. Once in a week or once in a blue moon, if I engage with people, that's good enough. So I would work part-time somewhere, maybe 2 or 3 days a week and the rest of the time I can be with, do what I like to do. So it won't be too much not doing anything and it won't be too much work. And I can always pick up extra shifts if I feel like it and do
Mm.
something simple and straightforward, nothing that requires a lot of thinking, nothing that requires a lot of brain power. Kind of like there's a scientific thing where if you're doing menial tasks, it helps focus your attention away from what you really want to do. So your brain kind of processes things in the background, and then it kind of helps with your academic as well as your artistic pursuits. Scientists used to go and do menial jobs in a restaurant, and then suddenly they have an epiphany, right?
Mm.
And when I was working in the last job I was working at, it was when I was a cashier part-time. I had so much free time while at the cash. That's when I started writing my book because I had to distract myself, my brain from, you know, being flighty all the time. So I started writing a book. So if I do a job that's like that, I can continue having ideas at work, and then during my 3 or 4 days off, I can go home and write.
Mm.
So $500,000 gone. So that's including the 3D printer and the house. And again, of course, I would have a kitchen. I would cook as much as possible. So still have 500,000 left. I obviously put some of that money into an account for my parents, but it'll be a fixed amount. I'd ideally have them live off of the interest, and
Mm.
then once if there's an emergency, they can dig into it because it's Canadian dollars. When it converts to Indian rupees, it's a significant amount, right?
Mm.
So if I put $100,000 into their account, they won't know the exact amount that goes into the account because again, I'm that kind of person. I don't want them to have access to everything immediately because that might, blind them and lead them astray. I'm their
Mm.
parent, apparently. So they live off the interest, they can travel, they can enjoy their life, their medical stuff would be taken care of. And again, another 100 would be kept in a separate account for my nephew. He's the only one I really care about in the
Mhm.
future, right? So if he needs for education or if he needs to be settled in life, he can dig into it once he's 18, but it'll be the fund there. So that's $700,000 gone. I still have 300,000 left. That'll be
18
the
or
amount that I'm
25?
what? 18. Because
Really?
I because as the years progress, we are getting more mature at a younger age. Right.
Mm.
So by the time he's 18, it'll be a very different world. The 100,000 might not stretch to where it stretches to today, right? So I want to give him
Oh,
the
that's true.
opportunity. It might accrue some interest, but I want to give him the opportunity. If he wants to
Mm.
waste it, he can waste it. I don't care. I'd be dead, probably. I don't know. Maybe they'll find a way to make me a vampire and I can live forever, which is again something I really want to do. I don't like the concept of death. That's another video that we have to do.
Ooh.
So again, 300,000 left. That would be the amount that I would plan on living off of, right?
Mm.
That would involve traveling to all the different places. There's so many places I want to go to, in like Egypt and Istanbul and the UK, and look
Yeah.
at all the British monuments and the museum and say, hey, you stole that, you stole that, you stole that. I want to get my hands on the Mughal archives in the Victorian Albert and look at the Padishah Nama and all these fantastic illustrated folios and stuff, and continue working on my books in different places. And
Mm.
this time I'll be able to invest more into it and advertise. Which I'm not very good at advertising myself. I just like doing the work. I just like writing. That's why I do it, right? And then, of course, a little bit of charity work here and there. I won't, go overboard and reserve certain amount to charity. Go do with it. I would do more of it personally because I like to be hands-on in that regard. So I'll go to India and maybe go to a basti or a little slum or somewhere and find some children who I think deserve the funding and then set up the funding in the school or with an organization in the local community who can take care of them instead of their parents or something like that, or a larger organization. So nothing like that. So maybe something very localized, very specific.
That's
And
good.
yeah, I mean something in Kerala as well because I love Kerala. I love Idiki particularly because I've spent most of my life there. Set up something there. And I did consider buying property in Idiki, but I don't think I'd be going back. So
Mm.
I really don't see a point in it. And I do, like, my parents have property back in India, and I don't think I would even use that. Right? I'd be willing to, uh, sell my share to my brother so he can have the property and I get the money. I'd be fine with that too. Right? So whatever's left would be the amount I live with, but I'd still be working part-time. And I'm not a person who has a lot of expenses. I'm not a brand person. I don't spend a lot of, again, I don't have expenditures on alcohol or any of that. I don't have expensive tastes. I like simple things, lots of books. So once I have time enough to read all of them, it'll be fun. Uh, yeah. So and the things I collect are, of course, apart from the 3D printer monuments, simple things like used books, like early editions of books, CDs, or
Mm.
cassettes, and stuff like that. So that'll be fun, I think. And of course, I'd continue to travel, drive around Canada, drive around the UK. Everywhere I go, I want to drive. That's the big goal. What else did I want to do? Yeah, I think that's everything that I would do with like $1 million. It's not a huge amount, but it's not a small amount either. It would set a person up for life. I never understood how people who won the lottery and then in a few years they're broke. I simply can't understand it, the concept. Maybe
Mm.
if we had money, we would understand it, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I would add three things to the list. One is going to therapy,
Uh-huh.
getting all the medication, all the diagnosis that is required.
Yeah.
Second, hire a fitness personal trainer
Uh-huh.
to get into a good physical shape in my life.
I would do the opposite. Instead of hiring a personal trainer for myself, I just hire people to, enjoy the time with me. I don't have the energy to go out looking for people. I don't
Okay,
care for personal connections.
which you can buy with money. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly, because what's the point? I can't stand people for longer than an hour or two anyway.
Fair. It'll be an hourly wage kind of job.
Yeah, and once you have money, people suddenly become your friends because you
Okay.
have money. And I don't want that. If I have to pay for it anyway, might as well pay for excellent services. I'm very
I have
practical
really
about
good
it.
friends in my life, so I'm sorted that.
I have friends too, but all of them are far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's far away.
Maybe you can spend your money visiting them.
I would have to because nobody's coming to visit me.
Is that a complaint? Do you
No, I
know?
never complain. I don't complain about other people because it's their choice. I
I'll
didn't make
come
them
down to
I
visit
didn't
you.
make them live far away from me. I go and visit them when I really feel the need. If they would feel the need, they would come visit me. But nobody's gonna fly 8,000 miles and visit me from India. That's not happening. That's not something you can ask people to do. People have lives. I
I
don't
will
want to be the
fly for
burdensome
you.
friend. Well, oh, that's
Yeah.
because you're a nice person. I'm not particularly nice.
Yeah, I don't think anybody said that. Um, okay. So yeah, that's what we do with $1 million.
$1 million, yeah. $1 million is always fantastic. Now we have to come up with how to earn $1 million. I've never even buy lottery tickets.
Tomorrow is actually a lottery day, Tuesdays. Maybe you can go
I
get
don't
one
even know
today.
that. I know, but spending money on a lottery, really? Yeah, that's the
Uh,
problem. Buying
yeah,
the lottery ticket, that's the problem. That's why I haven't won money yet.
because you haven't done the
Yeah,
work to get there. Yeah,
simply. I mean, with the kind of luck I have,
of course.
someone who doesn't drink, someone who doesn't eat sweet food, sweet meats, someone who doesn't smoke and still got gout. I think my luck is set. I think the universe is on my side. In a family full of fair, short people,
Mm.
tall, forehead is here. Yeah,
Beautiful big curls.
yeah. I'll take all the credit for that, though.
Mm.
I don't think anybody in my family has hair like this. My mother does, but she brushes it.
Mm.
And most of my cousins are bald. The
Your
men.
Bellatrix Lestrange. You
Kind of,
should do that for Halloween.
I would, but I don't have a black dress.
Thrift it. Go thrift it.
I would. There's no. I checked the thrift store here. We don't have it here. I'll have to go to Toronto or something. Maybe next year. Yeah. But I don't think anybody here might get the reference. But I used to do Electrical Strange, the voice and the dialogue and stuff. I remember in 2010 when I was
Do
in
it.
high school, we were doing the English skit competition for the university, not the university, this high school Kalolsavam. And in the skit, I was playing a bully in Australia, and one of the dialogues I would uh, throw out in every scene where I'm bullying the person was, "Oh, you itty bitty baby." That from Order of the Phoenix. Yeah.
Cackle, please.
No,
Please
I can't.
cackle.
No,
Please. Please. Please.
that's just my natural laugh.
Oh,
Why
wow.
make fun of my laugh? I don't have a specific laugh. It changes with my mood.
Uh, I think we
Hmm.
should end the video because it's getting long.
I okay, I've never had any complaints, but okay.
All right. We will talk very soon
Yes,
for
sir.
another video. All right.
Bye.
Bye.